Bobo throws that thing in the end zone and
yes! Touchdown! Touchdown in the goal line!
Cambiando estaba Billingsley. Interceptado. Y a ver hasta dónde lo puede devolver. Es Kelly Ringo. Sigue Ringo. Corta adentro. Ringo. Touchdown. Georgia.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Robert Iron E. Singleton, a.k.a. D-Dog from The Walking Dead, or Alton from The Blind Side. Also the former DB turned running back for the University of Georgia. And you are watching Respect the Hedges on the Fan Addict Sports Network. All right, guys, go Dogs. Sick 'em.
What's going on, Respect the Hedges family? We back in here for part 3 of our 4-part series called Football 101, making you a better football fan. But as always, we're brought to you by the Tailgate Kings. Like I said, man, we're back in here for part 3 of our 4-part series, man, here on Respect the Hedges, Football 101, trying to make you a better football fan for the next tailgate and or watch party. Part 1, we talked about rules and regulations, had our good buddy Julius Milton, a referee of 22 years on, to help us out. Last week, we talked about offense, and our panel did a great job. This week, we are talking about defense. So let's go ahead without further ado, bring on our panel. First up, hey man, this guy right here, he's one of my co-hosts on the Respect the Hedges podcast that we do weekly, former tight end at the University of Georgia, Javaris Johnson. What's going on, JV?
Hey, what's going on? Respect the Hedges crew, crowd, and everybody else, observers, man. I'm looking forward to the education tonight. I know you guys are going to bring it, Coach and Hina. Yeah, man, just looking forward to a great night. Let's get at it.
That's right. Next up is, she's always up respect the Hedges before even some of us sometimes. She's a podcast. She's a podcast expert herself because she had 2 years of a different podcast, but now she's over here with Respect the Hedges. We got another UGA alum. We got Shelby McDonald. What's going on, Shelby?
Hey, y'all, I'm excited. Defense is my favorite. I love a good sack on a quarterback. It makes me tear up a little bit. It's just so beautiful. Not on Georgia, but on other people. I don't mind a nice hit.
That's right. Let's bring the 4th person of our crew up. Somebody to help me with this defense today. We're talking about another UGA alum, former trainer for UGA and an unnamed SEC school. Physical therapist. He's an avid UGA fan. One of her sons is on the UGA equipment staff. She's former Walton High School Touchdown Club president and a current board member for the Atlanta Touchdown Club. And this season coming up, she will be our Respect the Hedges on campus correspondent. We're talking about Hina Patel. What's going on, Hina?
Hi, guys. I'm so excited about that. Go Dogs. Shelby, you brought the wine holder, and I had to bring you the wine to this week. How about
again, you know what we like to do.
That's right.
There we go. All right, we got some people already checking in. We got the stat guy. What's going on? Stat guy's a tough Final Four for the stat guy. He's a Carolina fan. They took it on the chin to Iowa, but that's okay. The SEC still prevailed with LSU winning the women's title. Let's go. Eric Benford is in the house. Said, what's up, peeps? Go Dogs. That's what we're talking about. So Stat guy say the Dogs definitely know something about some defense. That's right, man. We're gonna talk defense today, man. We're gonna talk defense today. That's Kirby Smart right there, yelling at a lot of folk like he always do. You know what I'm saying? And then his partners in crime, the co-defensive coordinators, Muschamp, on the left and Schumann on the right. How you feeling tonight about this defense, JV?
Man, let me tell you, since Kirby Smart has stepped on campus, he's built one of the most dominant defenses in the history of college football. And I'm not just talking about 1 year, but I'm saying for the last 3 years, our defense has been on a completely another level. And I think this year they're going to continue to stay on that same level. So what do I feel about the defense? I feel like they're championship bred, and I feel like they're going to lead us to another one. Let's talk about that three-peat.
That's right. That's right. We got some more people checking in. We got Lynn Burrows checking in. She said, now it's a party. Go Dogs. What's going on, Lynn?
Hey, Lynn.
And then we got Lance Bilbrew checking in. What's going on, Lance? He's a supporter of the Respect the Hedges. We appreciate it, man. All right. And then Eric says, long as Kirby's the coach, we are good. That's right. We are definitely good.
Yeah.
So, man, we're gonna go ahead and jump into this. People that's watching, like, listen, get your questions out. If you don't know if you at all about something, if you want us to expand on something, or just any comments you have about defense in general, just go ahead and start putting those in the comments, and we'll try to get to as many as we can. So we're gonna start.
Hey, Coach, real quick. Don't want to interrupt your flow, but listen, guys, everyone who's in the chat, everyone who's currently watching, do us a huge favor before we even get started, because you're here because you know you're going to get something good out of tonight. Let's go ahead and make sure we subscribe to Respect the Hedges. This is a great network run by the Fanatics, moderated by Coach. We have great content. We want you guys to continue to enjoy this content. Make sure you subscribe, hit that like button on all our videos, and subscribe. Even hit the notification bell so you'll know exactly when we're going to be airing new content, and you guys won't miss a drop. Back to you, Coach.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, hit that thumbs up. It helps the algorithm push it out to more people so they can get some of this knowledge. So let's jump right into this defense. As you can see, we have 3 levels of defense. I will talk about the first level of defense, which is the defensive line, noted here by the DE, which stands for defensive end, the DT, which stands for defensive tackle, and the second level of defense, which is LB, linebacker. And then I will kick it over to my co-host Hina, and she will talk about the secondary, or what's known as the defensive backfield, noted here on the screen by the CB, which is cornerback, and S for safety. All right, let's get into it. So yeah, that's the defensive line highlighted. This is a standard, what we would consider a 4-3 defense, meaning you have 4 defensive linemen and 3 linebackers. Anytime you hear the number call for a defense, you can hear 5-2, you can hear 3-4, you can hear a 4-3. That just, the first number notes the defensive lineman on the formation, and the second number notes the linebackers for the formation. All right. And so on the defensive line here in this formation, in the 4-3, the DT, or the defensive tackle, they line up kind of right over the offensive guards, or somewhere between the guard and the center. And their job is mainly to disrupt the play, stop the run, push the lineman back on a pass play, whatever they can do, like Jordan Davis used to do, just cause disruption, just be total chaos. The defensive ends here, we have 2 in this picture. And for those that used to keep up under the Mark Richt era, we used to run a lot of 4-3, where we had David Pollock and Quentin Moses on the ends. Their defensive ends are charged with basically in the 4-3 trying to sack the quarterback or holding up the outside edges on the run plays. So we're going to move on to the linebackers. And once we go over everything, we'll get into some formations and some questions and different things of that nature. So here we got the linebackers. We have 3 linebackers. Of course, the one in the middle is the middle linebacker, and then you have 2 outside linebackers. Depending on the strong side of the field, which JV and Shelby noted last week, would be detailed by where the tight end goes. So whichever side the tight end goes to, that's the strong side linebacker. Whichever side the tight end is not on, that's typically the weak side of the defense. So you have a weak side or a will linebacker. The strong side linebacker is often called the Sam linebacker. Different people will call it different things, but it'll always start with a S so that you always remember that it's the strong side linebacker. And then the middle linebacker is called the Mike. The Mike normally calls the plays for the defense. We've been fortunate in under Kirby Smart to have some really great middle linebackers. We have Roquan Smith, Nakobe Dean. I'm forgetting my guy that played right before Nakobe Dean. But they normally call the plays and get everybody, in position, make sure everybody knows the assignment. And they're typically the leader of the defense. So before we move on, we'll show you another little clip here. That's the secondary, which we'll come back to for Hina. So the 4-3, like I noted earlier, you got 4 defensive linemen and 3 linebackers. And in the 3-4, which is what Georgia typically runs, you have 3 down linemen and 4 linebackers. Now here it notes that we have 2 defensive ends and 1 defensive tackle. Kirby typically likes to run 2 defensive tackles and 1 defensive end. And just to kind of give you an idea of what it would look like under Georgia, these are some some former players under Kirby Smart. Got Jordan Davis playing the tackle. Devontae Wyatt was a tackle. And then Trayvon Walker was the defensive end. And then the linebackers, 2 of the most notable linebackers, both Butkus Award winners, by the way. Nakobe Dean and Roquan Smith would be middle linebackers. And then you got Azeez Ojulari and Nolan Smith at the outside linebacker. All right, before we go any further, and I'll let Hina do a little explaining about the defensive backfield. Let's see what we have here. So it looks like questions here are concerning the safeties and the DBs. So does anybody on the panel have any comments, questions, or concerns about the front 7 is what we would call them, because it's either 4 linemen and 3 linebackers or reverse with 3 linemen and 4 linebackers.
Got a quick question for you, Coach, if I could just jump in. I'm sorry, Hina. But on the D-line, when you're looking at a even defense or a 4-3 defense, and you have 2 defensive ends and 2 defensive tackles, what normally determines which side the defensive ends play on? I got this question from one of my homegirls a little early on in the week, last week. She wanted to know what dictates the side that the defensive ends will play on. Will they stay on the same side all the time, or will they tend to switch depending on which side of the offense is the strong side or the weak side?
I would under Mark Richt, what I used to notice is David Pollock. When it was David Pollock and Quentin Moses, David Pollock was the better pass rusher. So he would come from the weak side, because the weak side is where the quarterback typically isn't looking. And Quentin Moses would be the strong side, or I think the better run stopper would probably be on the strong side, because that's typically the wider side of the field.
Appreciate it.
No problem. Shelby, did you have a question?
I did, but I'm gonna be honest with you. Stat Guy took my question.
Okay, well we'll put Stat Guy's question up. Stat Guy said, "Why is the 3-3-5 such a trash defense?" All right, so
not wrong.
A 3-3-5. So we talked about a 4-3 and a 3-4. And remember, the first number in the defense indicates how many linemen there are. The second number indicates the linebackers. What recently we saw TCU in the championship and all of last year run the 3-3-5. They had 3 defensive linemen and 3 linebackers and 5 defensive backs. Now, that alignment would typically help when it's a pass play. And since a lot of the modern day offenses throw the ball so much, I think that's why TCU runs it. But the reason why I believe it's a trash defense is because when you are running a 3-3-5, you only have 6 people possible in the box. One of those people are probably going to be in coverage, which is going to leave 5 people right there in this little box where it shows, like on the screen, where the linebackers and the defensive linemen are. And if all of those guys aren't absolute studs, then it's going to be easy to run on them. Now, if you got a Jordan Davis and a Devontae Wyatt and a Jalen Carter, you can run a 3-3-5 because they call it, like, Jordan Davis takes up so many people, like, have to block him, that he can clog up the lanes. But the 3-3-5 leaves a lot of running lanes, and that's why I personally think not a lot of people use the 3-3-5 defense. What you say on that, JV?
I think you're spot on, number one. And secondly, I think the reason why a lot of people, not a lot of people, but people will run that 3-3-5 defense, which back in the day, you playing a video game, that used to essentially be the dime package. But they'll run that defense because they don't have a lot of front end talent. I mean, if you have a Devontae Wyatt, you have a Jordan Davis, you have a brain dead, my guy who went number one,
Trayvon
Walker, and then you have a Ojulari you have an Ojulari, you're gonna want all those guys on the field. You got some front end talent. But when you're kind of lacking in the talent pool and you also play in a pass heavy conference, then you can get away with putting 3 defensive linemen, 3 linebackers on the field because a lot of people aren't going to run downhill on you. But you see, we murdered TCU and we did the same thing to Arkansas when we played them. So that's normally what happens when you run against a strong team that has a great offensive line, some great blocking tight ends. That defense will never hold up.
Yeah. So if anybody remembers the Steve Spurrier years at South Carolina, they ran a 3-3-5 defense, and it was probably, in my mind, a more successful 3-3-5, but they had a lot of good studs guys out there on the field. But I'm with JV. It's not a great defense if you play against any teams that like to include the run. Hina, were you going to say something?
Yeah, I was just going to say for some of my folks, and I know some of younger people are tuned in right now. Can you explain the difference in physical ability that you need to have to be on the line versus being a linebacker?
So defensive linemen, this is what we call the trenches, because they're right there fighting with the offensive linemen. Like, they have to have quick, violent hands, because they have to get off of blocks. Once they engage with the linemen, they have to be able to get off blocks, and they have to have a good, I would say, base, because it's all, I think, and JV knows this from playing tight end, low man wins. When you're talking about blocking or trying to get into the backfield, linebackers have to have, I would say, like lateral speed, lateral quickness, I would say, lateral ability, because they have to move from sideline to sideline, which made Roquan and Nakobe so good. Sometimes we see those linebackers that can't chase down plays because they don't have good lateral quickness. Running in a straight line is great, but if you don't have lateral quickness, then that kind of hinders you. And linebackers typically, I would say, have to be really good tacklers.
Absolutely. And have to be good at getting their hands up and knocking down that pass, for sure.
Also, linebackers can be in coverage. If you play in a Kirby Smart defense, you will be asked to cover some people, and that's another way we take advantage of some teams, because their linebackers typically can't cover that well. We got J.N. Patel checking in.
J.N.
Hey, what's happening?
That belongs to him right here. But
so J.N. said, what are the benefits of bringing an outside linebacker down as opposed to a defensive end? So in my opinion, defensive ends typically are quicker defensive linemen, and I think that they wouldn't be as quick off the ball. Like Jarvis Jones, we used to bring him down off the outside. Kirby does it a lot with our outside linebackers, with the Azeez Ojularis, because not only now can you hand fight with people, but you can bring the quickness off of the edge. Not to say that David Pollack didn't get off the line, super quick. I would say that bringing an outside linebacker down instead of having a defensive end out there allows for more diversity as well, because even though they come to the line of scrimmage, they could drop back in coverage, whereas a typical defensive end wouldn't drop back in coverage unless it was some kind of funky defense. I hope that answer does you well, Jayan. All right. So, Hina, you ready to get on? We're going to move on to the secondary, or what we call the defensive backfield, where we're talking about. Let's go backwards. There we go. The secondary, the cornerbacks noted by CB. Typically, you have two, and then the safeties you have two. Go ahead, Hina.
Yep, that's a typical formation. They're kind of known as your last line of defense. Your cornerbacks are the ones on the outside that say CB there, and they line up in the defensive backfield typically across from the wide receivers. And in a standard defensive formation, there are two cornerbacks as shown here on the screen. Your safeties, they'll line up about 10 to 15 yards away from the line of scrimmage in the defensive backfield. And they defend against the pass. They provide support on rushing plays. And sometimes they occasionally rush into the backfield to disrupt the play. Hopefully get a sack, knock down a pass, intercept the ball, whatever that may be. Now on the safeties, you have two types of safeties. You have a free safety and a strong safety. Your free safety, to kind of bring it down a notch a little bit, the best way to describe them is they don't have someone that they are assigned to. So that's why they're called a free safety. They're typically a little quicker and can read the play really well. Your strong safety, they typically line up a little closer to the line of scrimmage. And actually, I'm going to throw out this question afterwards about the strong safety and why it's called the strong safety. But they also help on the passing play and support their teammates on the rushing plays. A lot of times you will see that the picks, again, the interceptions, this is again for kind of my younger crowd that's watching, the interceptions are made by your corners and your safeties.
That's right. And Kirby Smart, our coach, actually played safety and was really good at intercepting the ball. He had 13 for his career, even though he doesn't lead the history. UGA is the tie is Dominic Sanders and Bakari Rambo with 16. So just a fun fact. Just a fun fact to remember.
One of our safeties is Malachi Starks. So who is absolutely amazing, and we're hoping that he has another fabulous season this year.
That's right.
Or to his leader there.
He played played alongside Chris Smith here. I mean, Kirby's actually had a lot of good defense. I mean, that's his position. That's the position he coaches here. Pitcher, we got Eric Stokes, who was a first rounder. We got Lewis Seen, who got drafted. We got Chris Smith, who will get drafted, and Keely Ringo, who we hope will be drafted in the first round. If Keely Ringo goes in the first round, fun fact, it will be the third DB in a row in 3 years, in the last 3 years, to go in the first round. Eric Stokes had DeAndre Baker, and you got Keely Ringo. So
let's remind everybody. So
that's crazy.
Ringo being a CB, if everyone remembers back in Indy, our first national championship, he's the one who got the interception at the end of the game. So just to kind of put a little bit of image with cornerback, if that makes sense, just to kind of give my followers a little bit of imagery there, so I can remember.
There it is. So Shelby had a question, said, what's the difference between DB and CB? You want that one, Hina?
Sure. So your defensive back is basically the name for the secondary. It's your all-inclusive, basically, for your safeties and your corners. And corner are typically the two guys on the outside there.
Good answer. All right. And another question from Shelby. She said she wanted to explain the corner blitz. Hina kind of touched on this. If everybody can think back to, I want to say it was 2019, Eric Stokes came off of the edge and he rushed into the backfield and he hit Tennessee's quarterback and made him fumble. Money Rice is the linebacker I was looking for. Money Rice was playing, and but his co-linebacker picked it up and ran it all the way back for a touchdown. So basically, it's just that basically you try to do it on the blind side of the quarterback so that he doesn't see it coming. He rushes into the backfield and tries to sack the quarterback. Now, and if he doesn't get there, just try to disrupt his timing or throw him off or anything like that. So, any other questions we got? JV, you got any questions about the secondary?
No, I think you guys are doing a great job.
I'm gonna throw out a question for you guys. So can anyone tell me what the difference between the strong safety? What side do they line up on and why?
The strong side? Because that's where more people are.
Actually, it's actually the opposite.
See, that doesn't make sense.
Okay, so strong safety and free safety, like Hina said earlier, are some things that we as fans typically don't know who's lining up where. I'm gonna be honest with you, I've been watching football a long time, and sometimes I'm confused. But you know what? We got a special guest that's coming on, and he may be able to explain better what the difference between strong safety and a free safety is. So we want to welcome on our own all SEC freshman, all American freshman, 69 tackles, 45 solo, 2 interceptions, most notably remembered for the Oregon interception, but the biggest play of the year might have been the Mizzou chase down tackle at the 1 yard line. We got
Indeed
Malachi Stars. What's going on, Malachi?
How you doing?
All right. What's up?
Hey, Malachi.
Hey, we appreciate you joining us, man. We appreciate you joining us.
Yes, sir.
So could you explain to the audience better what's the difference between a strong safety and a free safety, and which position do you play?
I guess it depends on how the school plays it. I guess it can be different things. Like when I was in high school, strong safety and free safety were two different things from like where I'm at now in college. It just one's like plays more to the field and one plays more to the boundary. Right now I play free safety. I'm playing both. So like I'll either line up in the boundary a lot or I'll go to the field. But it just depends.
Okay. And on that, we got a couple of questions for you. On that Mizzou play, what happened on the defensive breakdown? Why did the guy break out for a long run like that before you walked him in?
We just weren't in the right gaps. Miscommunication, and he had split through the defense. That's probably the best way to put it.
Did you think he was going to catch him?
I did. I had turned around and I saw he was running, and I started running. But when I was running, I realized I wasn't running fast enough to catch him, so I had to
hit that other gill. Hit the other gill.
Yeah.
Okay. And then a question a lot of Dog fans have had is: did everybody on the defense know that you could pick that in the SEC championship that you could pick the missed field goal up and take it back to the house?
I did. We do situational stuff all the time. That's one thing Coach Smart is really good at, making sure we always know situational stuff. And they had blocked it, and normally like when it's on your side, because we blocked it and it ended on our side, you normally don't want to pick it up. But Chris, being the smart player that he is, he looked over and he saw everybody was going off, and I saw him, and we kind of made eye contact, and I was like making sure like everybody had left already, and he had picked it up. Great decision by him. He's a very smart player. Very smart.
For sure. Anybody on the panel got it? There you go,
So
Shelby.
so y'all saw LSU walking off the field like we did.
Uh-huh.
We thought it was the play was over, and then all of a sudden y'all are going down the field. Even the cameraman lost y'all.
Most people, I guess because it doesn't happen a lot, most people just think like once it's over, it's over. But if you block it, if it hits somebody's hand, it's a live ball. It's free to go. For the
Okay. That's
great
cool.
Play.
Yeah, it was a great play. I know, right? A great play. So we got a question from the comments for you, Malachi. It says, did you think you were going to get the pick against Oregon, or did you think you were going to get mossed?
It was a little bit of both, if we're being honest. Because I was in phase, so I had turned around. And when I had turned around, I tripped. Like, I don't know if it was on his foot or like I just lost balance, but I was starting to fall. And in my head, I was like, "Oh man, like this is like my fourth play in. Freshman. This is like the first game of the season. He's gonna catch it on my head, and I'm never gonna get back in." But I did my best to stay calm because I know what I can do. And when the ball came, I jumped, and when it hit my hand, I didn't let go.
Okay.
Malachi, listen, I want to just tell you, man, we all appreciate what you can do on that field. You really came in, and as a young guy stepping into a season program, you really show a lot of intensity, but also you showed a lot of maturity. I want to ask you one quick question before we get going, because I know what it's like to be coming into a program like Georgia from high school. Can you just speak quickly about the intensity difference, if there is any? But can you speak about the intensity difference coming from high school versus what you experience now at the University of Georgia under the leadership of Coach Kirby Smart?
I'd say it's completely different. It's just a completely different game. I mean, everybody's faster, everybody's stronger. It's just more intense, especially like on a coaching standpoint. I think like the biggest thing for me when I had came in was I had to hear the message and not the tone when I was being coached. Because that's where like most people they mess up, and it's not because they're not coachable. They're just hearing the tone and not the message. And like everybody struggles with it. Sometimes it's hard. Cause like you get to college and you feel like you're grown or whatever, and then like you just got these people yelling at you all the time, every day, for every little thing that you do. So it's hard to just take coaching sometimes, but you really just got to sit back and think like they've been where I want to go. They know what they're doing. And I'm around some of the best minds to ever play the game of football every single day. So I would be a fool not to try to soak in all their knowledge.
Man, thank you for that.
Wow.
That was powerful, extremely powerful. I'm quite sure a lot of people appreciated what you just said.
Yeah. So I mean, because the tone, we all know Coach Kirby and the tone and the microphone at practice and some of the pregame, halftime speeches, those things. The speeches and the tone, those kind of, once you get used to it, those kind of things get you going.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So one last question for you, and we won't hold you long, but what's the difference in your mindset this spring as opposed to last spring?
I'd say last spring I came in and the safety spot was open. People had left, and I just wanted to play. Like it got to like a point like in fall camp where I was like I don't even care if I'm playing safety. Like I don't care if I got to hold kicks or PAT. Like I just want to get on the field. Like I literally just want to be on the field. That's all. I say the difference between that spring and this spring is like now like I've been through a year. I kind of know how the system works. I'm still learning each and every day. But I think I'm a little bit more hungry than I was last spring. Just because like I had a pretty good year, but it wasn't the best of me. So I just want to keep working and keep getting better. Because like I said, like I'm around the best minds to ever play the game. So there's nothing that I can never not get better at each day I walk into the facility. So like this spring is just really trying to become the best 2-4 I can when I'm on the field for my teammates and myself and my family and anybody who's watching.
Hey man, if you put that in a bottle, that's an NIL deal for you, Malachi. Put that in a bottle.
That is
sir.
That is
please.
amazing.
Man,
That's amazing. Salute you, young man, and your parents.
Absolutely.
Yes, absolutely. We want to thank
First of all, and congratulations on the championship.
Thank you.
We had to say that.
For sure.
Seriously, as a freshman, come in, you got that ring, you're ready to go.
Yes, ma'am.
You got
We need another one.
More
yeah.
favorites to fill up.
Oh yeah.
Never satisfied.
Absolutely.
Right.
Okay, I have a little off the wall question just to give us a little insight on the defense. Who's the funniest guy on the defense?
Oh, that's tough. Because I'm biased, so I think defensive people are always more funny than offensive people.
JB.
Hey, listen, man. We gotta let the special invited superstar guest have this one.
I don't know. It's
That's all right.
It's tough. We got a bunch
That's all right. I know you guys crack jokes and have a good time. So so another question: who's the best dancer on the defense? On the defense.
I'll probably go with Julio. Julian Humphrey. He can.
Okay.
Bust a move.
Yeah, he can.
All right. I want to see it. I want to.
All right. One last question before we let you go. So, do you have a sister, Malachi?
I do. Yes, sir.
All right. What player on the defense would you not let date your sister if they were the same age?
Wow.
Wow, that's right.
Which player would I not let date my sister?
That's right.
Put him on the spot.
That's right.
Ooh.
That's right.
I feel like he about
Which
to say
one
all
is
of
the
them.
real dog?
Yeah, I wouldn't let any of them date my sister.
Good answer.
Good answer.
I'm not saying they're bad guys. My sister she's a queen, so I don't know.
I'm telling
That's
you.
right.
Focus.
Put that in a bottle, sir. You will be a
Focus like
millionaire.
brother. Yes.
Amazing.
We want to appreciate you taking some time out, Malachi. We know you got a busy schedule for just coming on here and kicking some knowledge and then have a little fun with us here on Respect the Hedges, man. We thank you for all that you do on the field. We telling people to respect them hedges, man, because y'all making us proud. It's been a long time coming, so we just want to thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank you.
I really appreciate it.
We'll see
Thank
you.
you.
All right. Have a great evening.
Y'all have a great night. Thank you.
Thank you. You too.
too.
Bye.
There it is, man, from an All-American himself.
Can I just say
Hey, that's
one
awesome.
thing?
What?
When he said the tone, you got to listen to the message and not the tone.
Wow.
It's a lot of adults that don't do that.
Yep.
Hey, listen, real quick, Shelby. Truth be known, I'm finna cut that little clip out right there, and I'm gonna play that for some adults that I know real talk.
Right.
Honestly.
Yeah.
What a phenomenal young man. Jeez.
For real.
I'm waiting on the six pack.
Wow.
Let me tell you, had I been that focused at his age,
Right.
Like, I mean, first of all, let give credit to his parents because they raised an amazing young man, and I have to give it to our coaching staff.
That's all I was about to say. The coaching staff.
Our coaching staff is just continually raising the bar.
Phenomenal.
Like you said, we're never satisfied. Just like last year, nobody cares. That was the team motto. Nobody cares. And these kids are really buying into what Kirby is preaching day in, day out.
That's right.
Absolutely.
That is a phenomenal. And if the entire team is 1/10 of what Malachi Starks is, I see number 3 coming. We'll see y'all in Houston.
Let
me book my Airbnb now.
That's right.
Right. Yeah, he is an incredible young man. I'm so impressed with his maturity. It's just incredible. And I can see why so one of the things, in doing a little bit of research, I was learning a little bit more about the free safety versus strong safety. The free safety is kind of like your leader of the defense, how your quarterbacks, and I can see why he's a leader. That right there, the way he spoke, the message he delivered, incredible.
It was. We'd like to thank Hina for getting our special guest for us tonight.
Not me. Jay.
Shout out to Jay for being in the comments as well. It said his job.
I feel like we need to put some money on his meal plan or something. I feel like we need to send you a commission or something.
No.
For sure, for sure. So, just one little extra tidbit that we have for you guys tonight on defense. Let's add it to the stream. So, we have our defensive formation here in the 3-4 with our facing going upward or going long ways. You got our defensive line here with the end and the tight, the tackle with the E and the T, and then the red guys are the linebackers, and then your secondary. You have the corners and the free safety. This is just a base 3-4, just a basic 3-4 formation. And if we wanted to show, like if we was playing a cover 2 zone, we would show this right here, and then everybody would move into their zones. See, so that way, if sometimes we may be in the zone, and if this wide receiver lined up on the left side runs right past that corner and they catch the ball, you can't always blame the corner, because the safety may have been supposed to be over the top, just to let y'all know, kind of where everybody's responsibilities may be. So just to show that again.
Great graphic, Coach.
I know.
Right?
I like it.
So, that's a 3-4. And sometimes I know people say, well, we're not in the 3-4 all the time. That's right. Sometimes we're in the nickel, where we take one of those linebackers off and we take one off and then put one up on the line, and then we add Javon Bullard, the nickelback sometimes, or JR, I think was not JR Reed, but 23. I can't think of his name, but he played it before Javon Bullard. And we would have 5 defensive backs that would be called the nickel. In the nickel, it would look a little bit like that. So everybody's responsibility. You may have the strong safety go out into what we call the flats out here. The corner in a cover 3, the corner would drop. Cover 3 just means there's 3 people that divide the field by thirds. So one corner would drop back into 1/3 of the field. The free safety would drop back into the middle third, and then the other corner may drop back into the other third. And that would look a little bit like that. See how that works?
Fancy.
We're just showing off over here. What we doing? We're showing off. Great job.
So just a little something so they can see it in action. Sometimes it helps with the visuals. We got JS says always need that meal money.
Oh my God.
I don't know a college student that doesn't need meal money.
That's right. Hey, listen, you can always eat when you're in college. I don't know what it is about college, but you can always eat in college.
For some reason, I think they might be drinking a lot of their meals too.
Wow, JB. I mean, you don't have to tell everything.
Hey, listen, man. Hey, listen, we've been young.
Here.
Listen to the message, not the tone.
That's right. Just some quick trivia. We talked about some of this stuff during the show. So what position did Kirby Smart play? If you are in the comments and you were listening, or already, before we let our panel get in it, what position did Kirby Smart play? Stat guy, I know you should know this if you're still out there. Jayan, do you know that is your coach? What position Kirby Smart played?
Literally, coach.
Panel.
Come on.
He played the safety.
Oh, here we go.
Safety.
Stat guy and Lynn Burrows says safety. That is correct. Good job.
That was one. I was like, I knew stat guy knew that.
Yeah.
Specifically, I think he played the free.
Yep. So along with that, we also talked about two of the guys that lead UGA history in interceptions. Kirby Smart had 13, but the most is 16. I named 2 people that had the most interceptions that are tied with 16. Who may that be? Stat guy, you got to know this one.
I know. I'm waiting on stat guy.
We're going to give him a little chance. So Lynn Burrow, she was tagging somebody. JV, do you know who has the most interceptions in UGA history? There's 3 people tied at 16.
You can't Google.
All right. I'm not Googling, but hold on. I'm going to tell you. So I got to pick this guy up.
Oh, here we go. We know.
So number 1, we're going to say Dominic Sanders.
That's right.
He has 16. And this guy right here is named after one of the other guys who shares that distinction with him, Bakari Rambo.
That's right. Also going to Lynn. Lynn actually got it right as well. That's what I'm talking about, Lynn. All right. And then something we did not talk about, but let's see if anybody knows. How many defensive players have been drafted under Kirby Smart?
Oh,
it is double digits. Of course, we do know that. Let's see what we got here. Stat guy, what you got on it? How many defensive players drafted under Kirby Smart at UGA? Take a guess.
That's a great question.
I know, because I'm like,
it's a lot.
It's a great question.
It's a lot for the amount of time that he's been at UGA.
Do you see Stat Guy's answer?
He said
I think he's short by like 30.
So he's had 3 defensive linemen, 9 linebackers, and 7 DBs. So he's had 19 players drafted since he started. That's just on the defensive side, by the way. Just on the defensive side. So we expect that number to grow in what is that, next week, couple weeks or whatever, whenever the draft is. So Kirby Smart doing amazing things like JV mentioned in the beginning. All right, man. That pretty much is what we have for the defense. Hina, go ahead.
Well, I have a trivia question for you all. Who is Georgia's most famous, most decorated corner, Hall of Famer? There were 3 brothers that all played at Georgia. And I'm going to throw this out to Cliff Burrows, Lynn's husband. He's the one who's also on here. Their son actually played at Georgia as well. If you all remember Brandon Burrows. But yeah, Cliff, you got an answer for me? Oh, Stat Guy's in there.
Stat Guy. Yeah.
Lynn had the answer. Lynn is on top of it.
She really is.
All over it.
And Lynn. They're both sitting there.
Champ Bailey, that's right. A Hall of Famer, Champ Bailey, all Mr. All World, all everything, Champ Bailey.
Champ Bailey.
That's right. Look at it's Cliff. Oh, it was Cliff. Cliff had to
just take the credit for it.
I know Lynn was doing the typing. That's right. Stat Guy says Boss Bailey was nice too. That indeed, he definitely was. He was one of the people that I could always count on to block a field goal by just jumping straight up.
Yeah.
Exactly. Is that correct? Right?
He played. What did you say, Hina?
He's a linebacker, right?
That's correct.
Correct.
Right. Okay.
Crazy athletic family, man. Even their brother Ron played DB before Champ and Boss came in.
That's right.
At UGA.
Right. At UGA, keeping it in the family. So Bailey's, if y'all got any more family members y'all want to send to Athens, send them right out.
Shout out to K-Boy, the cousin.
Hey, let's do it. Let's do it. Anybody got anything else they want to say about the defense or just UGA in general? We are getting close to the spring game, people. That's not this weekend, but the next weekend. Right?
Yeah.
I'm ready.
They knew not to do it the week before Easter. I mean, come on, y'all.
That's right. So I think we had us a pretty good show. I want to thank my co-host tonight, JV, Mr. Javaris Johnson, former tight end at the University of Georgia, Shelby McDonald. She's like the first lady of Respect the Hedges, and Ms. Hina Patel, our future Respect the Hedges on-campus correspondent, and who brought us our special guest along with Jay in today, Mr. Malachi Starks. Okay, Stat Guy says he's got one question before we go. He says, what's our favorite defensive play of all time? Please don't bring up the Pollock strip sack. He will crawl into a hole because he's a Carolina Gamecock.
I got to go first on this one, please.
Go ahead.
Let's set the scene. We are in 108,000, in the middle of 108,000 screaming, yucky Tennessee fans in Neyland Stadium. And Tennessee thinks they're getting ready to go in for a touchdown. And they fumble, and Sean Jones picks that ball up and goes back about 97 yards for a touchdown. And you could hear a pin drop. You could hear me and my boy C-Rob up in the stands raising literal HE double hockey sticks for everybody around us. Literally, they wanted to jump on us. That was my favorite defensive play of all time because I was there, and it was a beautiful sight to behold.
There it is. Hina, what's your favorite UGA defensive play of all time?
Oh, goodness. You know, I kind of brought this up in our private chat.
No, I'm like, that's so hard.
I know there's so many, and I'll tell you what, it honestly, that's a tough one. I would definitely say, I know you're gonna crawl into that hole, but that Pollock strip is really amazing.
The strip sack
I love Pollock, so
Listen,
I gotta give a shout out to my boy David.
Hey, one for the ages. What about you, Shelby?
I'm gonna have to go with the championship game with Keely Ringo, because if you've seen it, and then you saw it when they did it to the Titanic song, so you have to watch it on that one. Then you have to watch it when they put the Larry Munson voice with it. So when you see it from all different angles. So that would have to be 1A. 1B, the end of the game where we sacked Bryce Young.
Night.
And dude was just sitting there like, what happened?
That's
This wasn't
right.
supposed to happen.
No.
And all the people in the stand, I mean, if you look at it enough, you have to look at a different person every time. I don't know. Okay, let me be petty. So I don't know how they found the most unattractive girls from Alabama at the same time on that video. And I was like, oh my gosh, y'all couldn't have picked one pretty girl to put.
Oh my God.
But it was a girl who had
The thoughts and opinions of the host.
Yeah. Thoughts and
Come on.
opinions.
I mean, on that video, if you look at it and you're looking at the two girls they picked, and I was like, those were the two next to the cameraman? Wow. I mean,
Oh God.
wow. Okay, so that would be 1B. I mean, that championship game, y'all, I don't know. It was just something about it. And I know E-Rob always says, did you know we're going to win? No, I didn't know we were going to win. Not until Keely Ringo. And it was just a thing of beauty. And I watch it, I guess I watch it every day. I may have it on repeat just to watch, the different versions. So that's mine.
There's been so many, like you say, of course, the David Pollock is like one of the greatest. The one JV mentioned with Sean Jones, like I remember Tennessee fans claiming they had a shot until that play. I'm like, I don't think so. Because, and then the Keely Ringo and all of that. But I would say another play, one of my favorites, is in the Kirby Smart era. I will admit, I had some doubts when we brought in somebody that hadn't had any head coaching experience. And then when we lost to Georgia Tech and Vandy in the same year, I was like, man, I don't know. But in 2017, we played in Neyland. First play of the game, the defensive back jumped the route and intercepted the ball, and we went on to beat them 41-0 in Neyland. I was like, that is my coach. He can do. It's like I got his back to the end of time because I hate Tennessee with a passion. So I was like, let's get this thing started right now. And I think that started our trajectory up to the top. So that's my favorite play of all time.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That was a good one.
Yeah. Now, Cliff said something about face orange raised eyebrow.
Probably the Tennessee. Maybe that was during what JV was talking about when Sean Jones picked up the fumble, and all the Tennessee fans was looking kind of crazy. So
we owed them one though. To be fair, we owed them a lot.
Well,
we did, and we've given them a lot. And we're going to keep on giving it to them.
That's right. So we want to thank all of our commenters, our viewers. Thank our special guest, Malachi Starks. Thank J.N. Patel for hooking us up with that. Oregon game. Lynn says she's getting in late with the Oregon game and the kickoff classic, Malachi's interception. That's right.
Yeah. That was beautiful. Thing of beauty.
The really one that he tells us that he actually tripped over somebody, his feet, the receiver's feet, whoever's feet it was. That just shows what kind of athleticism the kid had. That he still could keep enough of his balance to get that interception. So
Absolutely.
Thank y'all for joining us. Another episode of Respect the Hedges Football 101. Don't forget to tune in next Tuesday at 8 o'clock. Same bat time, same bat channel. We're talking about recruiting and touch on a little bit of NIL. So that's what everybody likes to talk about, recruiting. We'll talk about some of the current recruits and things of that nature. Anybody else got anything before we get out of here?
Yeah, I just got a text. Revis McLaren, if y'all remember him, played.
Yeah, Reverend Rev.
That's right.
Dog. He said Auburn UGA four overtimes in 1996. Fourth down.
Oh yeah.
That's right. Fourth down stop. You are listen.
I was down for that one.
I just want to know, how do y'all remember all these things? I mean, it must be the three kids, but my memory, until I see it, that's why I had to put visuals into my explanations today. It's not within the last year or two. It's
They leave an impact on you.
That's right. So, hey, speaking of that game, shout out to our other Respect the Hedges co-host, CA Corey Allen, for catching the ball to send us in the OT. So
we appreciate
that's right.
We appreciate that.
What a spectacular game that was.
That's right. That's right. Shout out to Revis for tuning in and getting the question in. We appreciate it. We appreciate everybody with their questions, comments, and viewership. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Share it with somebody, because you can keep this video out there for people to see as long as we have it out there. For all my co-hosts, JV, Shelby, Hina, Coach I, Respect the Hedges. Go Dogs.
Go Dogs.
Go Dogs.
Go Dogs.